Hello and welcome to a special prequel session of The Soul's Confidante, a Invisible Sun campaign airing in the end of October on Friends Who Rolled Dice. So this is just a fun little sneak peek where we have two of our players on where they first met. I am Mare, I use she, they pronouns, and I am the game master for this campaign. C, Hamnah, would you like to introduce yourselves and who you're playing along with your character sentence tonight?
All right. My name is C. I use they, them pronouns. I am a dancer, digital artist, tabletop streamer. You can find me most of the time on Transplanar RPG, which is an all transgender person of color led 100% homebrew D&D 5th edition actual play live stream. We stream every Saturday. So if you're interested in very trans, very queer, very gay, it's so gay. I promise you that. Dungeons and Dragons, you can check that out. It's going well. Otherwise, I am playing the Curse Maker, who uses Ray Rem or they them pronouns, who is an eremitic stoic apostate who converses with everything. And I'll pass it over to Hamnah.
Muted.
All pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer. You can find me on Twitter at @shahid_, where I talk about all of the different projects that I'm a part of. I am a part of a variety of different streams and podcasts, so I won't list them all here, but if you follow me on Twitter, you'll definitely know when they're happening. Today, I will be playing Roshni, who uses they, them pronouns, and they are an itinerant ardent of the Order of Weavers who caught Fire's eye.
And
not the only guy I imagine you'll be catching.
Oh gosh. You don't know the half of it. With every game of Invisible Sun, we start with a card pool on the Sooth deck. On the Silver Sun, the Sun of Beginnings, which is very good and very applicable to what we are doing today, we have the Mysterious Rune. Value of 9, Secrets, Ravens, Books, and Flame. Meanings: magic, mystery, wordless communication. Words are spells, and spells are words. Runes and code words. They hide them in plain sight, store them. If you can decipher the rune, you gain its meaning, and thus its power. Those who scribe a rune, or even those who hold the book or other object the rune marks, are its masters. The Secrets family holds the mystery of a rune along with all its hidden meanings. It is not an unknowable truth, but a secret that can be learned, though it is likely a difficult and dangerous one. Tonight we start off this game in a very secluded district. Beautiful by day, beautiful by night, but also dangerous and very deadly. Very few come here on any night, let alone tonight. Alecto, C, would you like to tell us a little bit about your shop, your little cubbyhole?
Yes. In a house, in a room, in a back room, in a further back room, there is a shop within a shop. Inside of Rafi's odds and oaths, there is a back room that if you can gain entrance to it, if you know where to look, you'll find what looks a lot more like a workshop and a lot less like a place to buy things. There are bunches and bunches of tables lined with small objects, just kind of scattered over them, papers, books, oil lanterns burning low. A record player turns in the corner, this low melody of saxophones and a deep trilling voice that kind of floats on the air as it turns and turns and turns. And there's a cushion here that looks like it maybe doesn't belong, a box with a sheet thrown over it, a few other items kind of tucked away, things on the wall, shadow boxes, parts in the corner just kind of piled into a big heap behind this low table. And behind that table sits kind of like huddled over this workbench, so to speak, is a person who seems to just take up the entire mass of the room, considering that they are actually giant, despite this like tiny bit of jewelry they seem to be working on. Should I continue describing my character more?
We don't have character art, yes, so please do.
Yes, I will. The curse maker is about 6'8" and bulky, extremely muscular, broad shoulders. They have to dip to get into their own home through door frames, through anything. Despite this kind of imposing figure, they move even at their workbench, like with this kind of like preternatural quiet and gentle. These tiny little motions that they go through in their body. And the most notable thing perhaps about them, despite the fact that they are a giant, is this gold-plated mask that seems to be focused downward on the little bits of metal and gemstone that they're working with. This gold-plated mask that looks very similar to an owl. They have pale skin and this kind of dark brown hair that falls down around the mask, and this, this kind of like burgundy shawl tucked around their shoulders, though the hood is off because they're in their own home, and this dangly hair just kind of like falls around their face, just kind of raggedy, unwashed, I would even say. It's pulled back up into this ponytail that kind of just like hangs loosely and limply. They have these like beyond the muscles, they're just kind of wearing a like cloth wrap around their torso, not ace bandages because we don't bind with ace bandages, kids, but just cloth wraps around their torso, and these like this meticulous movement and thick black geometric tattoos that go from their throat down their chest and down their arms to where they're working. That seems to pull their attention downward. And that's the curse maker, to the best of everyone's knowledge.
You are working in your shop. This little backroom cubby of Rafi's odds and oaths, where you do hear eventually the slight click of your back door opening. Whether you have a bell or not, the light footsteps entering the shop are familiar.
Am I able to place them?
Your lovely curse bringer, Pax.
Pax, hold on one second. I'm almost done with this.
You got it, boss.
And after a long moment, kind of just like this fine tuning, this super, almost like gentle clicking of something happening with the jewelry in their hands, that they kind of sigh and push it away. And Ree looks up, this gold mask lifting to look at Pax in the face.
Even from I believe you're sitting correctly. Even though you're sitting, you don't have to look up too far to get a good look at Pax. Pax is only probably about 5'3", 5'4". She, they pronouns, and she's got this massive, also very unkempt, probably very dirty hair. So it's really hard to tell if it's blonde or brown. Delicate features, and just seems to be bundled up in all these very baggy clothes, high-waisted pants tied at the hips, and a very large like trench coat. And she's kind of like leaning on whatever is closest to her, whether it is a counter or that box you were telling about that has cloth over it, looking very much at home, patiently waiting for you to be finished. You would know that Pax is something called a zealot. A zealot is a type of spellcaster who is born with one specific type of magic, and they hone it to perfection. In Pax's case, she is known something as a grabber, moving something from one place to another. Most zealots that are grabbers tend to move people, and usually use it for mugging purposes. But Pax, you know what they grab. It helps you stay in business.
Pax, you know you're not supposed to be leaning on that. You know what's in there.
Maybe if you got a couple chairs, I wouldn't have to lean on it.
I don't need chairs. I don't live here. Pax, I live in the back room.
But you have customers?
My customers aren't the type to want to sit down and have a cup of tea, nor am I the kind of type to give them a cup of tea.
Well, I would love a cup of tea. But anyway, do you want your curses tonight or not?
What'd you find? Anything good?
I think they are great. And Pax will... Do you have like a counter?
Yeah, I think the curse maker just kind of like pushes some of the shit away of like the immediate space that they were working on. It's just super crowded. Their back table, their workbench is more crowded than kind of like the other spots where they seem to be selling objects. But they just kind of like move it all aside so that Pax can lay out their curse hall.
Perfect. And Pax kind of like pats at their jacket before opening it up and first pulling out 2 items. The first one is a brown leather cigarette case. The other is a silver flask, very plain, one that would hold liquor. Okay, this one, and they point to the cigarette case. This one is your run-of-the-mill vivacious curse. You know, vines grow out of everything. They're very painful to remove, impedes movement and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I've sold you one of these before.
Yeah, some scorned housewife came in. Another gift for their lover, so.
Very popular. Very, very popular.
How much do you want for it?
What did I sell you last time? Like 10 crystal?
10 crystal.
Oh, no.
I'll give you 7.
Why is it lower this time?
Because you brought me the same curse twice. That's bad for business.
It's also a good seller.
I didn't ask for it twice.
8, and you get a chair.
Fine.
And they will pick it up, open the cigar case, and hold it out to you.
Curse maker just kind of sighs. This is the hardest part. They take the cigar case and they open it. Is there anything inside?
There is a half-smoked cigar, but that's not the interesting part because you are the curse maker for a reason. Curses stick to you like glue. And these vines begin to grow out of your body, painfully so.
Yep. I think like kind of as their finger, like the hands, both of their hands, which are holding this cigar box, like little tiny, like dull brown vines, like start to like creep from their fingertips. And you can't see their expression behind the mask, but like something in their shoulders just kind of like tightens. But I do technically have withstand level 1 as a skill. So I think they don't make any kind of noise of pain. They just kind of take it. And they have dealt with this one before. So they like let the vines grow down their hand and just kind of like over this intricate tattoo work on their arms.
Perfect. Now this one, and they tap the flask after putting the cigar case back away in their jacket. This one I'm sure I have not sold you before. Let's just say that when I found this one, the young man was trying to breathe the waters of the alone permanently.
Permanently?
Yeah. Trying to breathe water.
And what exactly does it do, Pax?
I thought it was very clear. Breathe water.
Breathe water. That doesn't sound much like a curse. It sounds like a spell.
I'm pretty sure they didn't want to breathe water voluntarily. They were quite grateful when I took it from him.
I think there's like a long kind of silence. And the curse maker's hands that are now like kind of like rooted with these vines that are starting to sprout little thorns. They like clasp them in front of herself. Pax.
Yes, CM?
Don't fucking call me that.
Course maker's a long name, but of course.
What are you trying to pull right now?
I'm trying to make a deal so I can get paid.
Are you trying to fleece me?
No, I'm trying to sell you.
Are you trying to fleece me, Pax?
Do you want a course or not? It's a course. You buy courses.
I don't buy killing curses. I've told you 10,000 times. I can't take them. Are you trying to kill me, Pax? And the curse maker will like kind of shove off from their desk and stand all the way up, and their head kind of just like barely it's like here, right? Like it's just barely low enough. And they put both of their hands on their workbench. I am tired of this. I'm not drinking that. You know I'm not drinking that. Why did you bring it if you know I'm not drinking that? Pax.
Listen, do you have any of those suggestions? Because I have no one else to sell them to. You are my main buyer.
That's not my problem. You can get whatever you want, and you come to me with a shitty secondhand curse and something you're trying to kill me with. Are my crystals really worth that much to you? You know, if I die, you're not going to be able to sell to anyone in this town.
You're a strong individual. I'm sure you could withstand it for however long it takes you to get
Pax! And it's like one hand on the chest and whew, like up, all the way up.
And with that,
I can get that.
let's
The door opens, and in walks Roshni. I think to describe sort of the person, the individual that walks through this door, Roshni stands about I would say 5'9" in height. They have this russet brown skin and long, really long, wavy hair that is littered with hues of red, orange, and yellow, kind of like a sunset or maybe a flame. And in their walk, with their amber scleras that have no pupils, no discernible pupils at all, and they see this scene. But before they sort of register what's happening, they kind of they push open the door and they say, "Rafi, darling, I have the trinket." Oh, wait. Who are you?
We're closed.
You don't look close to me. I've never been in this part of the shop before.
Hi.
Hi. You seem to be having a lot of fun here.
They Pax this kind of looks at you, looks at Alecto, and kind of gives you a little help look.
So this masked giant bird person who's just holding one hand this other person off the floor, hasn't quite turned even their mask to look at you. They're still looking at Pax, but they there's this tiny little twitch of their head where they look. If Rafi's not here, then the shop is closed.
I think Roshni just gives a little wave. The shop doesn't look close to me, darling. You seem to have quite a lot of things here. And I think Roshni at this point is walking along maybe the perimeter of the shop, because you mentioned that there's tables all around, right, with the items. And I think they're kind of running their hand along the tables and maybe just fingering some of the items, even just in curiosity at what these things are.
Oh yeah, it's totally labyrinthian. You could just kind of circle it, with all the stuff that's in there. And at that, I think the curse maker just drops Pax and lets them fall just back onto the ground.
Oh yeah, Pax immediately doesn't make it to their feet. They land in a heap on the ground before finally standing up and brushing themselves off.
Careful, little rabbit. If Rafi didn't let you in here, then you don't belong in here. You could get hurt. In fact, you're quite liable to get hurt.
I would listen to the Rem. Very dangerous stuff in here. I would know because I sold it to them.
Oh, so these are your things. Can you tell me more about them?
I only buy to certain... Fuck, I can't speak. I only sell to certain clients, and I don't know anything about you. What makes you think that you have the crystal for these?
I don't operate in crystal. Darling, that is so passé, don't you think? There's something more interesting that I could probably offer you for these.
And what possibly...
I hate to interrupt, but you did kind of interrupt a business dealing.
Oh, well, don't mind me. I'll just be over here. And they just kind of like go back to looking at the items and like maybe picking one up and like putting it back down.
There's like tons of little... I made like a whole list of little stuff. There's like pairs of keys. You know, there's a sock on one of the tables all by itself. There's that like the box with a cloth draped over it. That's a lot. It's close. It's actually, I think, behind the workbench where Alecto is. There's like a stopwatch, a toy bird, a mask kind of with a. It almost looks like it's made of something iridescent and kind of like covers for half of a face. There's a violin with cut strings and an umbrella. Those are some things that are in here.
Is there any indication what any of these objects do? Like, does Alecto keep a little like note cards or anything like that?
Nope. It literally just seems like you walked into like a trash barn and like some things are kind of put forward, but there's also like a pile of junk behind them, you know, like it's a trash barn. And you don't know. There's a sock though, like all by itself.
Yeah.
Is
so
it a
I
kid
think
sock
Roshni...
or an adult sock? I'm really curious.
I don't know. You choose, Mare. Is it up to you?
I think it's like a thigh high.
That's amazing. I think then Roshni is just kind of looking very curiously at all of these items because why does this person care so much that I'm in here, given that all of this is just trash? It's worthless. Talking about crystal for this? So I think they're just kind of like trying to figure out like, what is this?
Listen, CM, I will just take the 8, get a chair. I will come back with something better another night.
If you expect to come back here at all, you will get this shit out of my shop right now.
See you next week. And they walk right out the door you came in through, Roshni.
Did Roshni come in the back door or the front door?
There was a bit of lag and we couldn't hear you. Say that again?
Would I have been able to come in through the back door?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Then yes, the back door.
Does Pax like book it out of there?
Oh, Pax books it.
They
do take the flask.
That was going to be my question.
Oh, they 100% take that flask. Have you seen Alecto?
Speaking of, Ree just kind of like sits back down kind of slowly and quietly. Again, like they don't thump into their chair. They like sit super quietly. And they seem to like consider, they're like kind of like flexing their hand, which is now starting to grow like deeper with vine. And it's like traveling almost all the way up, making their hands like a little bit slower to move. And The mask kind of shifts back to wherever you're fiddling. What object are you fiddling with at that moment?
I think it would probably be with the violin, with the cut strings.
Are you a musician, little rabbit?
In some ways, you could argue. Yeah.
Do you have a rival?
A rival? No. Nobody can measure up to me, you know? Why would you like to be my rival?
It was not an invitation. That, and they gesture to the object, will do nothing for you if you have no one to use it on.
Use it on? Am I supposed to play music with no strings?
Yes. And if you can, well, the person you're thinking of while you play your song, perhaps all their strings may also be cut in the musical sense. But if the violin doesn't like your song, well, curses are funny like that, aren't they?
Curses, you say? And I think Roshni finishes making that loop around the labyrinth and goes to where Alecto is sitting on the workbench and just kind of leans over and elbows on the table, hands underneath their chin, really uncomfortably close probably to where Alecto is sitting.
Yeah, they just shift back in their seat, I think. Even though they're so big, they kind of shift back just because they're like, mm.
And is that what that is? Right there. And they point to your hand.
Yes. You ask a lot of questions.
I like to know answers.
Well, it's no secret. This is a curse. A vitiferous curse. These vines will grow in my veins until they keep me still, hollow, like the inside of a tree.
And you just let it. You must not like what you do very much.
No, I don't.
Do you want me to stop it?
Do you think you could?
Vines, they have a weakness, don't they? They don't like fire. And I think at that, Roshni's scleras kind of brighten a little bit and flicker.
You look hungry for something, little rabbit. What are you here for?
Well, I was looking for Rafi. I had a delivery, but honestly, I think this is far more interesting. Don't you?
This is not exactly how I was expecting my night to go. What were you delivering to Rafi?
I think Roshni just kind of takes one arm and pats the satchel that is tied along their waist, and give it a couple pats and say, secrets.
Is that what you meant when you said you don't deal in crystal?
It is. I find that secrets, they go so much further than crystal in helping you attain whatever it is you might need. Food, lodging, cursed objects.
I'm not unwilling to make a bargain. But it depends on what you have in that satchel and what Rafi wants it for as well.
Oh, I wouldn't let you bargain on behalf of Rafi. Come on, what kind of person would I be if I did that? No, but I am more interested in you.
You are hungry.
Aren't you?
No. I'm poison, little rabbit. Nothing here will bring you any happiness.
Roshni takes their hands and just kind of runs it along the vines that are growing on Alecto's arms. I can take that poison out of you if you'd like. And I won't even charge you for it.
Fine. ahead. See what you can do.
And I think at that, Roshni, as they're running their hand along the vines, you can feel their fingers start to heat up. And it's probably gets to a temperature that is uncomfortable for Alecto, because clearly their fingers have started to like burn a little bit, and you can see that the vines start to char. And I think, Mare, what I would like to attempt to do is to weave a spell using the aggregates of fire and lust in order to bring the vines out of Alecto and closer, like essentially trying to like close the distance between myself and the vines, but in the process, hopefully burn them out entirely.
So you are trying to actually remove the curse and not just burn them?
Yes.
Okay, so why did I not take out my sheet, my levels of effects table? Because I am not a prepared GM. It's fine. Okay. I will say that in order to do this effectively, you will need to spend 5 sorcery points.
I have a total of 8, so that is definitely doable.
Perfect. Would you like to describe what happens?
Yes. So I think at first, Alecto starts to feel their arm getting like really, really hot, and almost to the point where maybe you're worried that Roshni is like going to burn you in particular, and you're kind of like, okay, does this person actually know what the hell they're doing? But just as the heat starts to get maybe a little bit unbearable, the vines start to like pull out of your arm and start to get closer and closer to Roshni, and they actually maybe even start to like wrap around Roshni's arm, and then once the vines have entirely covered Roshni and like are completely out of Alecto, they ignite into flames, and Roshni does not look fazed at all by the fire that is like consuming them essentially.
Of course, you are still bleeding, Alecto. These did erupt out from your skin.
Oh yeah, I think the blood, they watch. And again, the like expression is so hard to pull, but they're like very quiet, like for a long moment, and the blood just kind of like is dripping like out of their hands. Mare, is the curse gone? Is it on Roshni, or did they destroy it completely?
This would be considered a curse removal effect, so it's gone. It's a good thing you didn't pay for it.
I guess I'm not getting any shipment of curses tonight.
Maybe you found something better instead.
You know, that's the thing about curses. They're heavy. They stick to you. You can burn and burn and burn whatever you want. But the smoke, eventually it'll start to cloud your own lungs, won't it?
Not mine. I'm different, you see. I don't burn, and I certainly don't choke.
Not yet.
Not ever. And who knows? I mean, if you need my help in the future, if somebody tries to kill you again, maybe you'll need my help then too.
I seem to remember myself taking care of that, but good to know you're on my side. Although I think you do. Although at this point, I think you do owe me about, what was that, 8 crystal?
You agreed to getting rid of that.
For free.
Yeah. And you did not ask for payment in return.
Perhaps not. But I'm running a business here, little rabbit. This is my livelihood, and now I have nothing to work on. What am I supposed to do with that?
Tell you what, I'll give you your 8 crystal if you want it, but only if you can promise me one thing. Are you willing?
I like to hear the entire offer before I sign my heart away.
You're no fun, are you?
No. No, I'm not.
8 crystal for removal of the curse, which I so very kindly did for you, by the way. And in return, a secret. Something small, nothing big. I'm not asking for your life story.
And the curse maker puts both of they kind of like move their arms in to kind of match where yours are on their workbench. I think you misunderstand. And they are going to reach out kind of like with this still bleeding hand to like almost like they're going to go to touch Roshni's face, but they kind of go past their hair and just like grab outward. And I am actually trying to find in the etheria, right? The smoke, and pull the curse back into myself.
I will say, based off of the mechanics we talked about for your curses, we will do something along those lines. So you'll need to spend sorcery equal to the curse level. Or
It is a level 4
I will say,
curse, I believe.
And since you've dealt with this, I'll say it's an automatic success. You've used this curse before.
And it doesn't quite look like anything, but I think like the air around where they're just like pull, like it's smoke again. And then it kind of like is like thick, like honey in their fingers. And then it's like the vines almost start to come back, but then they kind of like shift it over. And that little medallion that they were working on before, this like necklace with kind of like it's almost like a locket necklace that you open up, but there's nothing inside of it. And the curse maker just kind of, in where they're bleeding, like rubs just a bit of their blood into the inside of the locket. And when they remove their hand, a little flower blooms, like a rose with all these like thorns and vines that start to wrap around it. And they close it shut. I'll be taking that back.
It seems I helped sped up the process, didn't I? I'd almost say you owe me for that, but I did promise I wouldn't charge you.
Glad we've come to a good agreement. I was afraid I would have lost everything tonight.
Everything? That seems a bit melodramatic, don't you think?
Perhaps just a bit. Why don't you leave your delivery for Rafi here with me?
Roshni kind of stands up, rifles through their pouch, and pulls out like a little, like a stopwatch, and puts it on the table. You won't understand what this is for, so I recommend not trying to put any curses in it. Just give it to Rafi, and I'll come back later for my payment.
Alecto kind of like just like reaches over and touches it, brings it in. And I have a forte ability, since I converse with everything.
Read it to me.
That I would like to use my psychometry level 1. When I touch a creature or object, I get a sense of something about its nature or past.
Okay. That will be, you get a sense of it. Roshni, did you come up with anything on what Rafi was asked you to get? Or do you need me to pull a card?
I am very curious about what a card will say.
Okay, perfect. I will pull a card for this.
I love the Soothe deck mechanic so much.
So great.
It's so cool. It's like so cool.
On the green sun, I have pulled The Endless Woods. Value of 3. Mysteries, rats, mirrors, and stone. Sounds nature's mysteries, the dark side of the forces of life. The woods in the wilderness are untamed and unsafe. Travel through them is perilous. We hear things all around us that we cannot see. Trees and undergrowth conceal dangers and perhaps wonders. The Endless Woods is the location card of the Mysteries family, and rightfully so, for it is very home to the unknown and perhaps the unknowable. I'm just reading some of the game mechanics behind it. 1 second. Roshni, what you were asked to get by Rafi had to do with mysteries from his home sun, which is the green sun. He was looking for some information and secrets about an old friend that was living there. More so the location of someone, and I use the term friend very loosely.
Through Rare Forte.
You cut out again for a second on my end.
Oh, sorry. Would Alecto be able to tell all of that information?
Alecto, I will say that you said it was a pocket watch, Roshni? Alecto, I will say that what you get out of this... Actually, what does this look like when you cast this spell? Does it have any visible... Or you just touch it and it like floods your mind?
I think it's a very there's like, it's like they're constantly moving through like honey or like something thick. Like the world around them is just like really like pulled kind of like taffy, and they like touch it and they like move their hand over it. Not like they're picking up an object, but that they're like picking up a bird or something. They hold it like almost like it's alive.
Then what you see as when you touch this pocket watch is an image of a vibrant, verdant forest. Just going on as long as the eye can see. There are no buildings. There's no cosmopolitan buildings. It's all wilderness. And it's almost like you're seeing out of the vision of someone else before they fall upon Roshni and they're talking. Before there is a burning in your chest and a pocket watch falls to the ground.
You live in a beautiful place.
Me? I don't live anywhere. Not in one place.
Oh. And they kind of almost are addressing the pocket watch. This is a very interesting conversation to be had. And they like kind of like put it away, just off to the side. You don't live in the forest.
I think Roshni gives Alecto a kind of look at that, because it's like, what do you mean it's an interesting conversation?
Did they ask?
No, I think it's just the quizzical look. Like they're not going to ask, but there's something happened here that they didn't quite see.
You strike me as the kind of person that people listen to. Or the kind of person that listens to people. Am I wrong?
Usually, though, I find that people love to talk about themselves, and, well, I've got all the time in the world, so I tend to listen.
I, on the other hand, find myself very busy. But little rabbit, if you don't want to find yourself with the desire to breathe water stuck in your back like a knife, then I think you better let me walk you back to wherever it is you're going. And Alecto kind of like stands up again, and they shrug this like big cloak over their shoulders again. They gesture towards the door. I couldn't quite hear what you say. I don't know why that keeps happening.
Is that a promise?
I don't make promises I can't keep.
Well, then you certainly shouldn't be making death threats you can't keep, darling.
I'm not talking about one for myself. Keep up. Somebody tried to kill me tonight. You think they're not loitering around back in the alley, waiting for the last sorry sucker to come out of my shop?
They won't come after me. Trust me. And I think at that, Roshni just kind of like turns to face the door and starts to walk out, but still kind of like laying their hands along like every object that they possibly can as they're walking out, still kind of like pausing here and there to like look at some stuff, as if they're gonna like, they pick one up as if they're gonna maybe like ask you about it or like buy it and then like put it back down and then continue to walk out.
Careful, little rabbit. One day you're going to find yourself in a forest fire you won't be able to run from.
Okay. It's a good thing I don't burn then, isn't it? And then they walk out.
Is there anything else you would like to accomplish with this session?
Happened.
I keep missing, like, I don't know what keeps happening, but there's like a long pause after you mute that I keep missing, like a lot of the first parts of what you're saying.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, Here, let me... Because I even changed the Zoom settings because I know that sometimes Zoom is weird and it's like being odd about it. So
while we got you,
yeah, I don't know.
While we got you on audio, do you have anything else Roshni would like to do?
I think one thing that Roshni would certainly do before leaving is make note of where this door is, because they have never found this door in the past, and they have presumably like been to Rafi's before in order to make this deal with the tigers. So I think they are going to try and like keep track of like, okay, like here's a landmark there, here's a landmark over there, so that they can come and find it again.
Okay. That's easy enough. And a curse maker.
I think they like kind of look out at the door and sigh, and they kind of like tilt the mask like up over their face, you know, like so that it's still kind of like resting on the top of their head. And each one of their like mismatched eyes like falls on this pocket watch and kind of like picks it up again. Tell me who that was. But I don't necessarily need the answer. Happy to just let it be just that.
Sure. And that'll be the end of this lovely prequel to The Soul's Confidant. Once again, thank you so much for showing up. My name is Mare. The Soul's Confidant premieres on October 24th. That's a Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Once again, I'm Mare. You can find me on Twitter, @ChimagevDice. The game is premiering on Friends Who Roll Dice. Give me one more recap from the both of you, and we will sign off.
All right, y'all. My name is C. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me on the internet making very trans, very gay art at PieSharpArt. My commissions are currently closed, but check them out whenever this actually airs. So see if they're open then. You can find me also on Saturdays on Transplanar RPG doing very trans D&D stuff. So check that out if you're interested. And I'll pass it to Hamnah.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Hamnah. I use any and all pronouns, and I am a TTRPG performer. You can find me on Twitter at @shahid_, where I talk about all of the different projects that I am a part of. I am on a variety of different streams and podcasts, so definitely follow me on Twitter if you'd like to know when the next ones come out. And I'm super, super excited for this campaign in particular, so please come watch it because it's going to be a lot.
Sorry, my wireless mouse died, so I had to get my spare. Anyway, thank you so much, and we will see you in a couple weeks. Bye!